Review this game. So this is French defense and very classic Tarrasch closed variation. Knight c6, knight b3. So knight b3 is not a very common move. I think the most common is bishop d3, controlling this diagonal. And once knight to b3, we cannot move bishop d3 because c4, there's a fork. And I don't think the knight at e3 can do anything because in most of cases, black is going to attack on the queen side in this variation. So if knight on the b3 is just adding a target. So instead, I think it's better to move bishop to d3, castle, and yeah, finding out a way to attack on the king side. So knight b3, and we play queen to b6. Actually, we can push c4 to get some tempo because we attack the knight, and further we can push b5, later a5, b4. We can attack on the queen side. So the attack on knight can make our plan like faster. Bishop e2. I think white is playing like passive here, so yeah, I understand why didn't white play bishop d3. As I said, there's a fork. Bishop e2. Yeah, the bishop is less as aggressive as stay at d3. We castle and rook e1. So we play f6. We want to fight at center, but yeah, I mean, I think we are. So we have to figure out what is the direction we should focus on. Should we attack the center at the king side, or should we attack on the queen side? So this is a question we need to think about. So if we play f6 and if white take, we move the knight to c5. But there's a problem because right now the white knight is at b3. So my point is, once white take the pawn, we will lose the very powerful dark square bishop. And white has pair bishop. This is an open position, and pair bishop is better than a bishop and a knight. So since white has a pawn, has a knight and a pawn targeting c5, I don't think plays f6 is a good approach. So instead, I will take the pawn first. After the exchange, maybe it's safe to play f6 because if white take our pawn, we can take that with probably maybe I think either one is okay. We can attack d4 with the bishop. We can knight takes and knight d4 later. So yeah, so we need to think about the order of the moves. So yeah, this is how the game developed, right? So white is really smart to exchange the knight with a bishop. So now white has pair bishop, and c4 white keeps attacking our center. So we might end up with the isolated pawn at the d5, bishop d7. We take with the knight. But how about taking up with the pawn? So we have a center pawn. Taking over the knight, so e6 is still a weakness, and also the knight is pinned. The problem is we cannot move the knight because d6 pawn, d6 queen is a handy piece. So even though we move the knight to the center, we cannot really move that away. So yeah, I would take that with the e6 pawn, and also after e6 pawn d5, we also open up the diagonal for a light square bishop, and a d5 pawn is of course better than e6 pawn because it's at the center, right? Rook c1, white is controlling the c file, that's good. And we move bishop to e8, we want to, yeah. The problem is the e6 pawn is blocking our bishop, so we need to find another way to maneuver the bishop. Yeah, that's a little bit awkward to be honest. If we have a pawn at the d5, we can straight away move the bishop to g4, pin the knight, right? Queen to d2, rook to d8. Yeah, so now the queen is safe. We can, yeah, move the bishop, but it takes some extra effort. So why didn't we move bishop to h5? Because I assume that is the purpose we move bishop to e8. Take. Okay, yeah, we lost pieces. Maybe we should. I think we should take the bishop, right? Okay, I see where we are coming from because we thought we can win material after take the knight, we can take the bishop, but we clearly missed the opportunity, the discover attack. So I think we didn't think from our opponent's perspective. So yeah, if we were aware of that, we clearly know we will lose pieces, and also the knights are being attacked. So now we end up as losing some pieces. So white is winning. Check. King f5, activate the king, that's good. Rook d3. King c5. Rook g3 to attack g7, g5. I don't understand. Why didn't white... Okay, white might worry about the back rank. So yeah, we can simply play h3 to solve the problem. So rook e3, yeah. I'm curious to see how did the game end up. b5, a5, rook e6. You know what? If white just take the bishop, I think white is still winning because white has up one pawn. Okay. Yeah, what about f3? If white put f3, bishop go to d5, and take, yeah, white can take the pawn, and yeah, so white can simplify the game with f3, but white made a mistake. So that's a discover attack. We have a discover attack. So both of us made a discover attack to our opponent during the game. That's interesting. So now we equalize the game. That's good. And we didn't trade the rook. That's good. We lost the pawn, but we win another one. So this position we need to be very careful. This is rook pawn's ending. We can end it up b4. That's good. King f6. Yeah. Otherwise, king d4 will lose the rook. King f6 good. Check. b2. Take. f4. Okay, so the basic idea, I mean, there are a lot of knowledge in such position, like rook's pawn endings. So the basic idea is we should move the rook to the back rank and check the white king from behind. So that can make us easier to disturb or interrupt white's plan, because white have to advance the pawn. So which means if we check the king from behind, we can keep checking that unless the king move backward to the back rank. So I can show you. Rook a1, and for example, g4, we check that, so the king cannot stay there, and we check, because the king have to protect the pawn. The king cannot move back to chase our rook. So that's the point. If we go here, we can keep checking that. Rook here, we can move our king upward, and then we can win the pawn. So the essence of the position is we have to check the king from behind. Okay, that's the learning. So we move the rook in front of the pawn. That's the problem. We cannot check the white king, and our rook is very passive in this position. We cannot check the king, and yeah, so rook b7, forcing our rook back, the king to the back rank. You see, so our rook cannot interrupt the plan of white. So if we make the rook stay at the back rank, we want to stop the pawn, but white has a way to force a rook trade like this. I think white is really proficient in this position. Yeah, now we lost. The learning for rook pawn endgame. So we need to make our rook as active as possible, checking the white king from behind.